I think the most important piece of advice that I would offer to a new advisor is have faith that you've taught your students well and trust them to do a good job at producing a yearbook. Therefore, you're the advisor and not the person doing all the work in the yearbook.
Just finish the book. I think it's easy to get lost in trying to do everything perfectly, but I think the best advice is just survive the first year. Just focus on getting it done, and then each year after that, choose one thing more that you're going to add on.
You've got to keep it in perspective. You can work on yearbook 24 hours a day, never have a life, never see your family, never do any interest, and it still won't be all perfect. Keep things in perspective. In the end, it's just a yearbook. Do the best you can and try to improve the next year.
I would say that a new advisor would be wise to open his or her eyes or ears to all of the possibilities and set some goals, and every year they could then add another goal or two, but start with sort of a plan and then just add a +1 layer every year.
A new advisor needs to find a mentor. They need to find somebody who's been doing it for a while and can help them learn the ropes. And I think that's especially important legally for a lot of advisors now. It's become more and more important. So whether that's finding someone recommended by your Jostens rep or finding somebody through a professional organization like the JEA, I think that's the #1 piece of advice I've got.
Best advice is to get to know your rep, because they are your link. They are the ones that know the way down the path. Have that face-to-face conversation with them on what it is you need from them, what they need from you. I think tradition too is a big part of it, because you need to know your kids. So building a culture is important. I spend the first 6 weeks really getting to know who they are, and that helps so much.
My co-advisor will say have a plan, because you need to know what you want to do. But on the other hand, I think having a plan is good, but you need to have a backup plan and a backup plan, and you need to be flexible.
I think the most important thing that a new advisor can remember is that they won't be able to do everything perfectly. It's a learning process. You learn more each year. You learn what works and what doesn't work, and that's constantly changing too as your staff changes. So you have to be patient with yourself and not feel like a failure just because everything doesn't go perfectly.
Listen to your Jostens rep. They have your best interests in mind. They have worked with your school. They have a relationship more than likely, and they have an idea of what to do. The other thing is to keep everything in balance. Don't just focus just on your book. You know, you need to focus on your family. You need to focus on your faith, you know, whatever that is. You need to focus on your friends. Don't let friendships die. Network, not just with your book advisors, but with your other, you know, develop your other interests as well. And, you know, make sure you're taking care of yourself.
I have 2 good friends who have advised publications, and they've given me some really good advice over the years. And one was to guide the students and to really teach them to take ownership and to, you know, give them some guidance, but to let it be their program and to, you know, give them the freedom to make mistakes. But that if they can have that ownership in it, that it's their book, it's not my book, you know, I'll still be there the next year and the next year and the next year. And that's what I keep telling them, you know, it's not my book, it's your book. And the second thing that's been very beneficial is to really pull from their knowledge, whether it's with the camera, with the software. They're so tech savvy that I've tried to learn from them and use their experience. So that's been some really good advice that I've gotten that I would definitely pass on.